what's up you guys, my name is Cyberstolf and welcome back to LEGO Arts. In the last episode, we did a review video on the Kingdom Hearts 2 Sora minifigure from Regalia Minifigs, and this episode we are finally going to do a showcase that I've wanted to do for a while, and that is LEGO The Nightmare Before Christmas. So for those of you who don't know, last month I got the LEGO Nightmare Before Christmas set from LEGO's official websites, and I did a full review video on it, from the sets to the minifigures, and afterwards I decided to take the minifigures and do like a couple of modifications to them. So a majority of them are pretty much with the same, but we do have a couple of extra details. So of course we have a new updated version of Jack Skellington, Sally, we got updated versions of the Boogie Boys, little modifications on the mayor, and in the background we got this custom Oogie Boogie big fig that I was really excited to get. And yeah, a majority of this is mostly just like half modifications with them, because a majority of the minifigures were already as they were. I just mostly went back and did some paintwork on them, but I'm really happy with how they turn out, and I think this is going to be a good one. So, as you guys know the drill, we're going to take these minifigures one at a time, do review them, explain the process, why I went this route, and go from there. So without further ado, let's get the pedestal out and get the showcase on the road. To start off our showcase, here we have the Pumpkin King Jack Skellington. This honestly gave me a lot of nostalgia, because this was a minifigure that I wanted to remake for a while. Like, if we look back at the original Jack Skellington I made, this was the one that I made back in 2018. And you can see, like, an extreme difference between the two. Like, for starters, with the older one, I had used, like, a Batman Batarang as, like, the bow tie and sculpted out the little bat form. On this one, it's got the official bow tie, which I was super excited when this came in. And I wanted to use this one for a new Jack Skellington figure for a while, so I was really excited when I finally got this piece in the official set. But anyways, back to the comparison, we can see that, like, the lines are a lot bigger on this one. Mostly because, like, I was using a pen, I think, at the time, and just, like, drawing them out. On this one, I actually swap between, like, using a pen as well as, like, using the push pin and doing a lot of repairs upon with, like, the pinstripe sides. It really gave me a lot of rage when doing this, because I kept having to go back and fix the lines on each of the arms and the legs. It was super tedious and really made me angry, but I was able to, like, get it to a point that it looked good enough to be like, okay, yeah, this can work. And of course, like, on the back here, like, I remember I super glued, like, this fabric part onto the bag, and this one is a removable piece. So it's definitely, like, a huge difference. And of course, like, with the head, I don't know why, but my sculpting, like, back at the day, was just basically just to take a bunch of clay and make the biggest heads as possible. Like, I like the detailing on the face to, like, give it, like, his narrowed eye, sinister grin expression, but the head shape, it's so big, and I can't explain why I did it that way. So this was definitely something much better. And with the head itself, this was a custom piece that's, I got this like 3D file from Clayman and Clayman 3D, the same guy that did the Master Chief helmet from the Halo project. That I got his that I bought this piece off of his 3D page websites. I'm not sure if it's still there, but he does fantastic work of doing like custom action figure size heads. And he has done a couple of Lego pieces, such as, like, this one, as well as the Master Chief helmet. So definitely when seeing this one, I definitely wanted to use it for the Jack Skellington minifigure, and it looks so crisp and clean. Like, he got it perfectly with the detailing of, like, the smile. The eyes are out perfectly, the nostrils, it's really well done, and it really captures Jack overall as a whole. I think it would turn out really great. And a couple of, like, some extra details I did is I carefully took the push pin and carefully, like, did the downlining on the bat bow tie, as well as a little bit on the eyes. He still has articulation. I didn't fill it on. I didn't mess up with the legs or anything. I kept them as it was. Mostly, the work was mostly done. All I really did was, like, 3D prints the head, did some paintwork on the arms and the legs. And like I said before, like, it was definitely rage-inducing to try and get all of, like, the pinstripes as small as possible and try to, like, line them up properly. So there was definitely a lot of trial and error with this one, but I'm really happy with how this turned out. Like I said, this was a figure I wanted to remake for a while, and with the opportunity presented itself, it's like, I should give it a shot, and I'm really happy with this one. Like, this Jack looks so much better than the original one did. Next up on our list, here we have Sally. Now, this one with when doing the paintwork on this one, it wasn't as challenging as Jack's pinstripe suit, but it was definitely a process to get it right. So I had to look back through scenes of the movie as like try and find like many photo references of Sally's overall design, and it was much more trickier than I was expecting. I think because there was different variations of versions of like how her dress looks like some of them were in different colors. In the movie, it was really hard to like find a clean enough color screen a screen for where like all the colors would like be pretty evidence of kind of like overall like what the dress was supposed to look like. So it was really a process, but I managed to get enough good references, and it was mostly for this one. It was mostly going in and painting in some of the work. Now, in terms of like how I approached it with this one, so like I said with some of the paint stuff and stuff, I first like tried to create like a paint that is close enough to the skin tone and tone on like her head as well as her arms to like try and get it as close as accurate as possible. It's not quite as good, but on camera it does show it does like blend in pretty well. So I'm pretty happy with that. It was a little bit of a pain to do though, especially of trying to fill in the gaps between like the dress printing on the legs. I thought about trying to like do like a three-dimensional skirts, but decided to instead just do like some of the paintwork on this one. So unlike usual approaches, with the waist piece, it's pretty much intact, only with like some light sanding and chipping away. That way the waist isn't too destroyed and the figure could like remain intact. With some other detailing stuff I painted on like her shoes as well as like her socks. It's not quite as accurate, but since it's a minifigure, it's really hard to get some of those and to like fill in those gaps when you have like such limited space. But I managed to fill in as best I could. And with her stitches, I used this new like dark teal paints that with some of the stitches I saw that she had a majority of them really looks like in this color. So I managed to like use this new paint and carefully just paint out like some of the stitches as best I could. It's not quite as perfect, especially on the chest. I kind of wish that I was able to do like some smaller detailing work on that one, but it still turned out all right. And same thing with the stitching on her head. I mostly just painted it in so that way the colors would match up overall as a whole. And then with like some of the paint stuff, I carefully went in and just filled in with like some green, some pinks, and kind of like a brownish. I was going for like a brownish gray kind of color. And on the back, I did some additional paintwork detailing, especially on the waist piece to kind of just blend it all in together and get her same thing with the legs, and then just line it up with the skirt down below. And I think it turned out pretty good. And definitely with this one, it looks really great, especially in comparison. No hates to this one, but here's the original Sally that we did. That I mostly didn't even really do that much work in this one. This was just a knockoff figure that I remember getting from like a convention or something. And with the overall like design of it, I know it's a knockoff minifigure, so it's not, I wouldn't say too terrible, but I definitely prefer like the official design a lot more. It's a lot more crisp and more screen accurate as possible and it looks really, really great. And overall, like painting wise, like I said, it wasn't as difficult as with Jack's pinstripe suit, but definitely had a couple of challenges. But at the end of the day, it was well worth it, and this still turned out pretty great. Next up here, we have the Big Fig Oogie Boogie. I mentioned him in my review video that I was stunned that this character wasn't in the official set, and if it was, I think it might have looked something like this, or at least like a buildable figure. But either way, I was definitely excited to try and customize on this character. So the figure itself, this was made by Calypso Customs, the same guys that did the Iron Giant base figure. I had purchased this figure as well as a couple of other custom parts, which we'll explain in a bit. And since most of the sculpting work was done, all I really did was went back and did some of the paintwork. Like I first did base paint in black, especially for the face to like get to match up with his eyes and mouth. And then I jumped back and forth of how I wanted to paint this guy because the majority of his scenes he's in like a brown tannish sack, but he also has his like iconic scenes when he's in like his house in the dark light with like his poker room. It's such an iconic scene that I thought about doing that as well. And one of the ideas that I thought about doing this for this character was to do like a glow in the dark paint for like it would show up as like this, but then under like a black light or something, it would show in like glowing green. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a paint that not only would have the glow in the dark effect, but be invisible. Kind of like in a way for where like looking at it right now, it would show up as like this, but then like when the lights went off, you would see him like glow in the dark. I unfortunately couldn't find something like that. And with the shipping stuff, it wouldn't be able to like show up in time. So that's sort of an idea that's either if I want him like to show up as like green, it'll either be like a Photoshop edit or something that I'll just have to put on the back burner to touch at a later date. Anyway, though, the figure itself like is still pretty great. I love the detailing they did do with like the stitching patterns, like you can see like going all the way around from the arms, and well, from the head and all the way down onto the legs. The arms are pretty good as well. Unlike the Iron Giant, when I was painting this guy, I made sure to remove the arms so he can at least move them. And with the arms himself, like obviously he can't hold anything, but that's all right because it still is like pretty accurate to how he looks in the movie. And it still is pretty great. So had to do a little bit of sanding work on the bottom of the feet so that way they at least stick to the podium. But other than that, this still turned out pretty good. I still wish that I was able to figure out the glow in the dark stuff. Like I said, that'll probably be something that I'd have to put on the back burner. But aside from that, this still turned out pretty cool. And it's such an iconic character. Like, it's really, really great. So now we're moving on to some of the minor stuff, beginning off with the Boogie Boys. So first and foremost, as you can see, they have their masks this time, and they look really, really fantastic. These were once again done by Calypso Customs, and they did a phenomenal job of getting all the way to the accuracy you see with each of them. I love the detailing like in each of them. Like, again, they're perfectly accurate. I think of all of them, though, I think Barrels is the only one that you can really see with the eyes coming through them. The other ones kind of, sort of, but they're mostly concealed underneath the masks, but they're still pretty cool. And some cool touch-ups with this is that, like, you can kind of see, like, underneath where the head is connecting with the neck, you can see it's sort of like a slip-on. So instead of having it being, like, stuck to their heads, onto their hair pieces, or actually have to glue onto their heads, it can be removable, just like in the movie. And on the back there unfortunately, there is, like, sort of a minor thing, especially with Locke's hairpiece. You could see, like, his mouth is still exposed. So that's an unfortunate kind of thing, but it's still all right. These hair pieces are definitely much more accurate than the official Lego ones. And down here, you can see that I drew on his little devil tail. I had thought about doing some sculpting on that one, but after some testing especially with the walking bathtub, I realized that, like, the piece couldn't fit in as well as fit the other characters in. So just having to paint it on, it was the best option that I could do for that one. And then mostly with paintwork, I mostly did it with Barrel as his outfit is the only one mostly with detailing, and I mostly just painted on with, like, some of the additional the additional bones on his arms and his legs to fully match up with his skeleton outfit, which I think came out pretty good. And there was some minor, like, sanding work, mostly with the hair pieces, especially for Shock's hair. But once getting past that, it still came out pretty good. And mostly with, like, some of the final touch-ups was mostly, like, adding in the detailing, like, the right colors, the hair colorations for each of them, with the mask, especially with the teeth on both for Barrel and Locks. But both of them came out pretty good. And since this is mostly with some minor paint stuff, I can bring out here with the Mayor, like, he didn't really go through major changes. I mostly just added in some extra detailing on the sides of the head, mostly just to make it blend in a little bit more, especially so that way when he turns around, like, not just this section of it is printed on, but it kind of blends in a little bit more. And that's mostly it. Like, not a whole lot of more detailing was really put into this, but again, with the pieces that Calypso Customs did, I think they did a really fantastic job and really adds, like, more creativity onto the characters. And there we go. That's going to do it for this episode of LEGO Arts. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was a really fun project to do and definitely gave me some nostalgia, especially when working on Jack and Sally. That, as I said before, I worked on this showcase, like, a long while ago. So to go back, now and touch on these characters with, like, new skills, is really, really great. And these all turned out really great. I was going to do something with Zero and sort of like a similar thing with Oogie to do like a glow in the dark effect, especially to give it sort of like that ghostly glow. But I couldn't find a paint. But again, I couldn't find a glow in the dark paint that would work, especially a glow in the dark white paint, or like a really really light blue. So again, that will be something that I'll have to look for. I'll have to look more in the future before I can fully do that, and I'll definitely be do like test stuff before I officially paint some of the stuff and stuff. But even though this was mostly just minor paintwork here and there, it was still a fun project to do and really a lot of fun. I definitely would love to do Nightmare Before Christmas again in the future, like maybe do some of Jack's alternate outfits, like his Sandy Claus outfit or his Pumpkin King outfit. So probably try again with Oogie with like the glowing green, or maybe like his other versions, or just like either the shadowy version or possibly the Seven Holidays King from the Oogie's Revenge game. That would be a fun attempt. And in terms for other characters, the only one I can really think of would be like Dr. Finkelstein, since he's another main character. Apart from that, though, I think we're gonna call it good. As I said before, this was a lot of fun to do. I'll include links to the creators that I mentioned in the description below. Go check them out. They did phenomenal work. If you want to check out the previous Nightmare Before Christmas showcase that I've done, sort of do like a compare and contrast. You can find that in my LEGO Arts playlist. And overall, that's going to be it. So, if you guys want to see more videos like this in the future, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notifications. It really helps us work on Let's Plays, like products, and we're have some fun. So overall, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, hit that like button, comment below what you think, share it to friends, subscribe to me, follow me on Twitch. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time in the next video. Goodbye!